Hi, this is Eric Bjornstad with the Bell Performance video blog, and today we're going to talk about a blog post we did about a month and a half ago. We're talking about the 3 engine components that can really wreck your fuel mileage. And we're going to talk today about the first one of those. But before we do, we want to remember that a new car without any mileage on the engine hasn't had a chance for the engine to get dirty, hasn't had a chance for deposits to build up. It is in perfect mechanical condition. Those vehicles will always get the best mileage possible. The problem is when you use them, you put life, you put wear on them, the performance of the various parts starts to retard away from what it was ideally engineered for, and that's when you can figure on being able to get some improvement in your mileage. So the first engine component that you should pay attention to is the oxygen sensor. Now, there's not a lot of people that know exactly what an oxygen sensor does. An oxygen sensor is located in an area that enables it to detect and analyze the fuel-air mixture, the ratio of unburned fuel and air that's coming, heading towards the exhaust. It's a post-combustion gas system is what it's called. It's already been burned in the engine and it's getting ready to head to the catalytic converter before it leaves the exhaust. The oxygen sensor reads this, and it reads it by using an electrical charge from 0 to 1,000 millivolts. And ideally what it's looking for is if the fuel-air mixture is at the correct ratio in order to give you the best emissions possible, emissions, not gas mileage, but emissions, it should be at 500 millivolts. If there's too much fuel, not enough air, what they call a rich mixture, then it is going to read higher than 500 millivolts. It might read 600 or it might read 700 millivolts. The opposite is also true. If it reads less than 500 millivolts, let's say 300, then the onboard computer, which is analyzing these readings the oxygen sensor is giving it, the onboard computer is going to interpret that as saying there's not enough fuel in the mixture. It's what they call a lean mixture. Okay, and what does the computer do when it senses that the fuel-air mixture is either too high or too low? Well, it's going to adjust the fuel injection of it's going to adjust the fuel that's being metered into the combustion chambers in order to increase or decrease the fuel in order to try and get that post-combustion fuel-air mixture back to the right ratio. 500 millivolts is what they're aiming for because they've determined that the ratio of fuel and air that gives you a 500 millivolt reading will give you the best emissions for the environment, and that is what they're shooting for. Remember, they're not shooting for mileage. They don't care about performance. What they want is good emissions for good air quality. That's what an oxygen sensor is supposed to do. So the oxygen sensor reads too high or too low. The the onboard computer adjusts and either decreases or increases the fuel that it's providing to the engine in order to correct that ratio. Now, over time, as you get miles built up on your car, what's going to happen to your oxygen sensor? Well, as it keeps reading all of this gas that's flowing by it, and this gas that contains combustion byproducts, those combustion byproducts may start leaving a residue, a buildup on that oxygen sensor. And if you wait long enough, what you're going to get is a dirty oxygen sensor that has a lot of buildup on it, and it's going to start affecting the way it reads the fuel-air mixture that it's supposed to read. If it's too dirty, then it's not going to read it correctly, and what it's actually going to do, it's going to read it as too lean. It's not going to detect that there's actually more unburned fuel in that stream than there actually is. And so it's going to give you a false lean reading. And so what's the engine going to do? What's the computer going to do? Well, it's going to pump more fuel to try and compensate for what it thinks is a lean reading, when in actual fact it may not be. And so if it's giving the engine too much fuel, what is that going to do to your fuel mileage? It is, of course, going to make it drop. And that is almost entirely because of a dirty oxygen sensor. So that is the first engine component that you should pay a little bit more attention to. Read your service manual for your owner's manual for your car or truck. And get your oxygen sensor serviced at the correct times. That's something that you can do that will keep your mileage where it should be. So, thanks for joining me today. I am Eric Bjornstad here with Bell Performance. If you like this video blog, then please go on to YouTube and like the video there. And if you're so inclined, become a subscriber to our video channel or to the written blog itself at bellperformance.com/blog. Thanks for joining me today. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.